Hey everyone, welcome. We have two guests today. We have director Steve Moon and actress Ginger Cressman. How are you?
Hello, good.
All
I'm
right.
super.
All
How's
right.
everybody? Hello, Ginger. Hello, Jeff.
Hello, hi.
All right. It's great to have you both on. I don't always have two guests today, but today I do. This is really cool. Director and actress, you both have worked together for a while, I believe. How first tell me about each yourselves. Steve, how did you become a director, producer, the whole nine yards? How did that get started?
Oh wow, we're just gonna dive right in. All
Might
right.
as well. That's what they want to hear all about it.
Oh wow. All right. So the long story short is I was always a writer. I was always a good writer. Even in first grade, I wrote a little book that's probably still in my elementary school. Then I did a book of poetry. Then high school, I was a good writer. And every job I had, I was always a writer working for a newsletter or something like that. But I was always just good at writing. I majored in art, graphic design. It was really graphic design, but it was an art major. But I was a terrible graphic designer. Right now, I can compete with the rest of them. But back then, horrible graphic designer, but I loved advertising and I was a good copywriter. So every time we would do any kind of critiques or anything like that in college, we'd have advertising agencies or somebody like that come in, especially my senior year, and they would critique everybody's work. And they're like, oh, wow, he's the worst in the class as far as graphic design, but this guy's a natural born copywriter. So I always wrote. Fast forward to 1995, 96, I started. I wanted to do bigger commercials because I was writing commercials, things like that. But I wanted to do bigger writing. So I just started writing scripts, treatments, screenplays, and things like that, and reached out to the industry out in Hollywood and wrote a script and a treatment. Nobody does treatments anymore, so I even hate saying that word, but I had a treatment for a movie that eventually in 1997 came out, and it was a movie called Firestorm, starring Howie Long. Now, me, if you know anything about me, I like drama, I like history, I like things with substance, with depth, with meaning. Ginger, she knows that too. But when Firestorm came out, it it was my movie, so I went to go see it. Looked at the trailers. I could just tell everything about it was my project. They made it an action film starring Howie Long, which was bad, but it was about smoke jumpers, which was good because that was what my movie was about. They even used some of the nicknames of some of my characters in the movie, kind of a slap in my face kind of thing. Had I been lucky enough to direct it and to cast it and all that, it would have been a more of a Kevin Costner long version and get into the depth of how the first backfire was set, stuff like that. Anyway, so that's how I got started. The Writers Guild of America, WGA, they offered me 3 entertainment lawyers pro bono. But they said, who are you going to sue? Because I had 9 different agencies representing my work. So out of those 9 different agencies, which agent was it? Was it somebody that quit? Was it somebody that got fired? Was it the janitor that took the script out of the garbage can? Not that any of my scripts belong in a garbage can. But anyway, so that's how I got into it. I was like, maybe God's talking to me. Maybe because I never could really find my niche in life. It was never marketing. It was never graphic design. I wanted something bigger and better. Honestly, I knew I wanted to be a preacher, but I was just wrestling with what do I want to do, but I want to make a difference. I want to make an impact. So this was a way of God kind of revealing, look, you're even if it's not yours, even though it looks like it is yours, you have what it takes. So now fast forward 2 more years, the writers, the lawyers of the WGA, they said, look, if you want to get in this business, move out to Hollywood and become a waiter like everybody else and then try to pitch your work, or get into the independent industry, which I did. So I met with Kimberly Pierce, the director of Boys Don't Cry, and her director of photography. And they kind of walked me in through how do you do independent films? How do you cast with locals? How do you market? Blah, blah, blah. So I did my first independent film with my director, my current director of photography, Joe Walker. He's a college guy. I was 29 at the time. And we made a low budget, no budget film called Under the Sidewalk Moon, which, yeah, you talk about something that should be in the garbage. The script, yeah, it was good, but I'm learning how to edit on the fly and horse trading with actors and schedules and all. But I had a premiere at the Alabama at the Bama Theater in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Again, how God works. People say, hey, I want to see a miracle. I want to see Peter walk on water, but they don't believe they'll ever see that because, that's a test of their true faith. But here's how miracles happen. The liaison of the New York International Independent Film and Video Festival, long word, long term, is from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. She graduated from the University of Alabama. She happened to be, this is when internet was first starting out. She happened to be surfing on the internet about filmmakers from Alabama, and she found me. And she's like, I didn't know anybody was doing movies in Alabama. I said, yeah, I think I'm the only one right now. This was in 2001. And she said, well, I saw you had a premiere at the Bama. I'm from Tuscaloosa, blah, blah, blah. One thing led to another. And she said, I would like to invite you as a guest to a red carpet event to meet people like George Clooney, Chris Rock, Jennifer Aniston. I want to get you in the business because it's hard to get into the business. Again, this is 2000, 2001. So she introduced me to everybody. So now all of a sudden I'm meeting directors and producers and agents and distributors and everybody. So I'm still working in my marketing job, but I'm still doing independent films. Well, now fast forward a few more years, and I tried to make this as short as I could, to 2008. I was laid off from a company that's the shovel-ready jobs never happen. Let's just say that. So a company laid off over half its employees, including me. And I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know how I'm going to make a living. I don't know how I'm going to pay my bills. I'm in a mess. And the next thing you know, all of these producers that I'm friends with in LA are like, hey, Moon, we want to come to Alabama. They just passed a tax incentive of 35%, which means if you're a producer or an investor, every dime that you spend in Alabama, you're getting a 35% rebate at the end of the show. We call them shows, not movies. So I'm like, yeah, we can do whatever. I mean, we do low budget stuff, but yeah, my guys are ready. So a friend of mine named Richie started coming to Alabama, gave us a chance. First he went to Mobile, and I'm like, look, we can kill it in Birmingham. We got a lot bigger crew, bigger pot in Alabama or Birmingham to choose from. So then he started making his movies in Birmingham, giving the crew that I had worked with on these little small budget films and no budget films. Loved it. Fell in love with the 35% tax break or incentive. Fell in love with the crew. And then all of a sudden, he's like, hey, Moon, can y'all do a John Travolta movie about dirt track racing? Or can you do the movie Bigger that's about the guy, Joe Weider, that discovered Arnold Schwarzenegger? And all of a sudden, they're just, it's domino effect. So that's how I got into it, and that's where I am today, and that took probably 8 minutes or so. So anyway, there you go.
Did you ever have like a pinch me moment, like I'm really doing this?
No, because it's like any other
gradual
job. It's because everybody asks, do you ever get starstruck or anything like that? No, I mean, why do they? Because they're like, oh, I got my picture made with John Travolta. Yeah, but did John Travolta get his picture made with you? Because until he wants to get his picture made with me, it's got to reciprocate here.
Right.
So,
I'll bet there's somebody or two that could make you starstruck, though. Especially that one actress, Ginger Cressman. I mean,
oh no, I thought you were gonna say Thelma. Now you talk.
I wasn't gonna say that. I had to say.
No, you talk. But no, there was never a chance. It was more like, Lord, I can't believe that you're taking care of me because I don't belong in anything like this. Yeah, it's a dream to work doing something that you love, because then it's never work. But you can work 3 or 4 shows a year and make your living, and then try to close deals or freelance or whatever on the side while you're in between shows. And God knew what he was doing when he knew that you don't belong behind a desk for 8 hours a day.
Right.
I would rather make a difference in somebody else's life, because this just pays my bills. If I can get my bills paid and just reach out to somebody and help somebody, that's what it's all about. And I help college students that are film majors. I get them jobs on set, not internships, but paid jobs on sets. And then producers will be like, hey, Moon, is this person available, or this person's available? And you just feel wow, I'm able to do what Richie did for me. I'm now able to do for other people. And to me, that's what overwhelms me, is like, I'm a vessel, but why me? I'll never get that.
Hey, Ginger, how did you get started in the business? Because you're an actress, you're not a director, but
Make
it's
it quick,
different.
Ginger.
My answers are always much more quick.
Well, you started as a model, right?
Right. So When I was in high school, I got to thinking, I haven't talked about this much. So whenever I was in high school, we had a fashion club in the high school that I joined. And one of our teachers, the teacher that was in charge of it, she was doing this Mary Kay party, and she invited a photographer to take pictures, like before and after pictures of our makeup. And there was a photographer that came, the one that did the photos for us. And I remember him going, "Have you ever modeled before?" I was like, "No." So then he got me started. Stop it. I can't look at the middle screen. I can't block it. That's so weird. Anyway, so he got me started like enjoying the modeling part of it. And then I wasn't ever a part of like the drama club or anything in high school, but they were doing the play The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, which was my favorite book and favorite movie. And so I auditioned for that and got cast as the White Witch, which I auditioned for Lucy, the innocent, sweet girl who stumbles upon Narnia. And for some reason, I end up cast as the White Witch. I don't know why these things happen to me. But that is my humble beginning into acting. And then I went to college and I became a teacher for a while before I got back into all of this stuff. And that is that.
So how did you two meet? I mean, how did all that happen?
Ginger, you take that one.
Okay, so I was doing background on a movie in Mississippi, and Steve was, what were you doing on that show?
I think, what show was that one?
That was Joe Baby.
Oh, I was doing props on that one. I messed up on that show. I'm sorry, guys. Yeah.
Now, in case someone out there don't know all the terminology, what does it mean by doing background? What is that?
Okay, so the extras, the background people that walk around and make the show what it would not be otherwise.
It layers the scene. It adds to the scene.
Yes, it makes it more realistic and believable. And anyway, so that's what I was doing on that set. But the other thing is, when you're doing background, you sit there for a really long time and do nothing. And so in between Steve's important things that he had to do on set, he came and talked to us for a while. And then I found out that he directs movies, and he showed us some of his trailers for some things that he had done on his phone. And we were all like, wow, that's so cool. I really want to be in one of his movies sometime, but just don't tell him because that's scary.
Oh, yeah.
So.
No, she's telling only part of the story. Part of probably why I screwed up on that show is I probably spent more time with the extras and the background than I did, because I had an assistant, and I was probably like, oh, my assistant can just handle everything and I'll go hang out with the extras. Because when you're working on a set, like Ginger said, especially if you're background, you're just going to wait forever until maybe they call you, maybe they don't call you. But when you're on a set, you might wait. Okay, well, pictures aren't going to be up until the next 30 minutes or an hour, or we have to reset, or somebody's late. There's a lot of things. So sometimes you're on a show where you have a lot of spare time. So when I was able to network, because you're always networking also, whether you're an actress, a producer, a director, or a prop master, or whatever, you're always networking with people that actually love the business, because that's the people that you want to work with. And I could just tell that Ginger was, okay, I think she likes the business, so let's talk further. So yeah, that's how we met.
Because I know you two have done a lot of different projects together. What's the very first one that you did?
The first thing that we did was when I came up and shot part of China White with you.
Yeah, China White. I get bored in between shows, and I also want to keep my resume up. And I don't want to say IMDb, but we have to say IMDb. You want to keep your IMDb up, even if it's low budget stuff. But I've never done an action film because I don't like doing quote unquote mainstream stuff, but I wanted to prove that I could do a shootout. So China White actually started out as, let's just make it this shootout Miami Vice kind of movie. And I said, I need a couple of cops. And we're filming everything on our phones. So she lives down there. I live up here. And you got your husband, is that right, to film some of the scenes?
Yeah.
So I could start editing it. And then I was like, hey, this looks really good. Let's continue. So I brought her up to do a couple of the action moments of the shootout in Bessemer, Alabama, which was a lot of fun. And that turned out good. And we just kept talking ever since.
That's awesome.
It was really fun because I got to do a fake shootout. I mean, that was fun.
Yeah.
So
And the
how many different things have you all done together? I mean, can you even count? I mean, you've all done quite a bit.
What did we do after? Let's try to stay in order so it'll be easier.
And then Diamond was after that.
Then Diamond was after that. And then after that was like Gloves for the Cold, which is just an amazing story behind that. And then what else? Did we just Girls Fried Out? It's a little horror thriller comedy, which has really turned out good. And anything else that we're doing or done? I can't remember.
I mean, those are the only ones. Those are the only ones that are completed that we.
Okay.
Yeah.
Done.
Diamond was amazing though. I knew when I saw her. Well, go ahead. I don't want to jump the gun.
No, yeah, Diamond. We got a quick trailer we can show of Diamond, and we'll talk a little bit about this whole Diamond experience and what it is. Let's check out the trailer quick.
Where was he when we lost Kelly? Where was he when my mama died?
So there's the Diamond trailer. Give us a quick synopsis. What is this Diamond movie, and can we watch it now?
I'll answer that part. You answer the other part. It's not ready yet.
Okay.
We've had a couple of premieres. I don't know, one or two. It's with my sales agent right now. Okay. It's with my sales agent who's getting ready to go to con with it. I am going to make a quick change to the ending of it, though, for a lot of people that were on set was like, wait, that's not the ending that you filmed. I'm like, I know, this is the ending I like. But, Ginger, you go ahead and answer the other part because you're done.
Okay. Oh, I love watching it.
You play Diamond, so what's the synopsis? What is it about?
So I played an ex-rock star. I am an alcoholic in the movie. Playing at hometown bars, and I got some bad news. I don't know if I'm supposed to say what it is, and that kind of ruins it, doesn't it? Or
you got bad news about your father.
There we go.
You can say that.
Yeah, because I don't want to spoil the whole movie for anybody who watches it, and that's the movie. But I loved it so much. Watching that trailer makes me want to be back on set, like doing.
I was thinking the same thing, but watching the trailer now that I've seen the movie, is I want to spruce up some of the music in the trailer, and change it just a hair. But no, Diamond. I sunk my teeth into Diamond when I met her because I had auditioned. Just some other people. It was a couple of years in the works because we had original. It's set in the 70s. It's a period piece, and I had 4 original songs written for it, but I never could find the right person. It just never hit me. And then when I saw her, I was like,
that's
there's another Out of the Fight story for that too. Is I just knew right away, okay, this is what I've been looking for. It's all timing. It's God's timing. This is the reason why I got into the business, how I got to meet Richie, how I got to Mississippi, how she got, it just all comes together. But
So did you write Diamond?
Yes. I wrote Diamond. Just because I like gritty and I like characters. I like something that you can really just like get into. And here's also the thing: there's a lot of producers when they come to Alabama, they'll hire a UPM, which is a unit production manager. And production manager basically makes sure that everything is done on time and right and stuff like that. Kind of like a first AD, but they're behind the scenes. And I hear it all the time. Well, Alabama, they just don't know what they're doing. They don't have enough people that can be in a key position, and they can't do this. And I get tired of hearing that. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take these college kids that I've been mentoring, and we're going to make a 72-page, probably 76 if you include the scenes that we added and the 4 original songs. So maybe at the most 80 pages at the most in one day. So we shot in 12 and a half hours, 30 minutes for lunch because we did that. Most shows are a 12-hour day anyway. Most shows do 7 to 9 pages, maybe 10 pages. At the most, 10 pages in one day. We did minimum 72 pages in one day.
Wow.
And we didn't miss a thing. And my first AD is a girl named Ashton. She graduated from Birmingham Southern. First AD's job is to make sure everybody stays on schedule. So we have 2 different units going. We have A unit, which is my unit. I'm directing the main character, even though several times I didn't direct Diamond. I was directing B unit. Still don't know how that happened.
Mostly
But
you did, though.
So Ashton would be like, okay, Steve, you've got 5 minutes. I'm like, no, I need to finish this scene. I'll tell you when I'm done. She said, you have 4 minutes and 40 seconds. So she would literally keep me on schedule. Meanwhile, they're shooting this. So Diamond may be filming a scene inside the bar. And I was like, okay, tell me when you cut because my unit's over here ready to roll. Or we might be rolling with no audio. It's called MOS. We may be doing MOS and just getting her walking around with some like B-roll shots while they're filming, or somebody may be outside while we're inside. And we nailed it, and we made our day. And at the 10 o'clock hour, which was probably 10 hours into it, I told my crew, I said, look, you guys can take off if you want to. This was a big challenge. We still have a ways to go. Walk away if you need to. And nobody walked off. And everybody's like, okay, let's sit down. Let's crunch. Let's grind. What do we have to do to finish this?
Was that your original plan, is to do it one day?
Doing one, okay. Yeah. Because I always like a challenge. I've done everything else. I mean, I've done everything else. So I've done a one-take feature film, 1 hour and 17 minutes long. One take. No fake cuts, no fake edits, one take action movies, shoot 'em up, car chases, fights, stuff like that. I'm like, what else can I do? So I always like to push myself. Not that I'm trying to prove myself, but I'm proving that what's the old adage here, hold my beer? Well, in this case, it's like, here, hold Diamond or something like that. We got this. And so when it's over, you have the bragging rights, and I don't even like that phrase. You have the peace knowing, yeah, we nailed this in 12 hours. I'm pretty sure I can do a 7-page scene today on a John Travolta movie. So it gives people a feeling of accomplishment, and it puts them at that next level. Because anyway, I could brag on the crew all day long.
Ginger, when you first went, and he told you, hey, I need you to be Diamond, and we're going to do this in one day. Maybe it wasn't quite like that, but what was your expectation? What did you think? I mean, you're like, what?
Well, he originally sent me the script and I read over it, and then I had to audition, as I did not know this person very well and had not acted in any of his other things besides Shine White. And so I didn't know we were going to film it all in one day at first. I didn't know that.
Yeah, you did. She doesn't listen.
I did not. I didn't. And you didn't tell me that until like right before we filmed it, probably. And so, but actually, I'm glad that we did it that way, because for me, I loved it because I could stay in character just the whole entire 12 hours, and I didn't have to stop and go home and be normal and then go back and try to pick back up with the character and figure out who I was all over again. I could just stay in that moment for the whole time.
Even during lunchtime?
During lunch, yeah. Well, there were people on set that asked me if I was really drunk anyway, so that made me happy. Because I guess
the only alcohol at the bar there was at the bar, and no, you did not have any alcohol.
No, I had zero alcohol. I wasn't going to drink in it. That's cheating. You have to learn how to do the thing and make it look real.
Yeah. So how did you embody that character? How did you, Ginger? How did you bring that character? Like, what did you do? I mean, what kind of challenges was it?
Well, first of all, I'm not really a singer, for one thing. And so there were all these songs. Oh, and I had to send him videos of me singing so he could help me get better. Oh, that's so hard when you're not a singer to do that. But I wanted to do the role. So That was hard and trying to at least sound okay. But the point wasn't, and he kept saying the point isn't for her to actually have to sound good. It's not really about how she sounds. And so that helped. But I had to learn those songs ahead of time anyway, which we used some of them. I think we used everything.
I think we used all of them at some point, or bits and pieces of it.
Okay. And then, you know what? I had to research. I wanted to do everything right. So I had to research how to act like a drunk person. Like, I actually got on YouTube and watched videos of either people that were who had acted or people who were actually drunk, so I could figure out what it was that was going to look realistic and not like somebody overacting this fake character thing. Go ahead. You want to say something?
No, just don't let me forget.
Okay. Okay. But anyway, that's some of the stuff that I did to get ready for that.
Did it take you a bit to get ready? I mean, how much time did you have?
I don't really remember, a couple of months maybe. I don't know. I'm not really sure.
At the end, it was, hey, are you available in 2 weeks? Because we're starting this, because that's when everybody happened to be available and free at the same time. So it was a hurry up and wait, and then it was a hurry up, let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, I probably didn't really start preparing to be the character until closer to when we actually filmed, because I feel like I have to focus. But I know you know. Now you tried to make me watch a movie ahead of time, and I never did do it, but to prepare.
Oh no, it was, yes, I watched that. It was a good movie. You never watched it, and you know it. It was kind of inspired by The Rose with Bette Midler. But again, I don't want the audience to think that this is about a drunk, because it's not. It's about how do you get to that point in your life, and then how do you overcome the bad news, and does the bad news that you're about to receive make you go over the edge, or does it bring you back into some form of redemption? And that's really what the movie is about. It's about the struggle that we all have, because let's face it, we all struggle with something. We all have a vice. We all have that one thing that's either in our nature, or it's in our rebellion, or it's just in our weakness. That's how do we do this? How do we fight the good fight? And sometimes that fight is right there within your own four walls. And that's where she was, because her character's a lot deeper than what she's saying, because I know you don't want to say too much without giving it away. But we all have that issue, whether it's, you know, I long for my dad who's on the road all the time and he's not here for me, or I'm so self-centered that I spend more time focused on me than looking at the big picture around me, where everything was done for me. And she interpreted that character. Wow, was the best thing. And I don't give out compliments to Ginger. That's why I'm giving them to you, Jeff. It's about Ginger. Is she just, I mean, she's just diamond, and just to watch that without knowing it was a one-day shoot, just to watch that, you feel every ounce of pain and what she went through and why people make the decisions that they make. So yeah, it's more than, and that's why I wanted to say she's not all. She embodies what everybody goes through. Whatever your vice is, she embodies that. And wow is all I could say.
Yeah, and to go along with what he's saying, I agree. If it was just a movie about some drunk girl, I definitely would have not been actually playing that character. But you know, I could really identify with a lot of pain that she had, and so I used some of that to draw from to be able to portray the character. But yeah, it's definitely a much more deep character than that surface.
After that day of shooting, after it was all done, and Ginger, when you woke up the next day, what was going through your head? I'm like, okay, I'm not Ginger. Okay. I mean, how do you for so long of a day wake up the next day and you're like, okay, I'm Ginger now. I'm not Diamond. okay. I mean,
you just get up and you're really tired.
Right. I'm sure you slept till noon the next day, probably.
Well, I was staying in an Airbnb actually, and it was a really big Airbnb, so it was kind of scary because I was there by myself. That's just a random thing. But so that's just me being me. But I just woke up and I was tired, and I went home, and all the scenes from the movie are going through my head for days, and just slowly turn back into yourself, I guess. I don't know. It sort of did feel like I had a big hangover for a while after that movie. But
now, Steve, with all this projects and stuff you've done, have you ever did a cameo in one, or been in one, or been a background, or done anything yourself in front of the camera? You don't have to tell us what if you have, but if you have.
Yeah, in my first movie, just for fun, one of my favorite movies is Point Break. My dog is named Bodie after Patrick. If you say which Point Break, the conversation's over because there is no remake of it. It's terrible. Anyway, so Patrick Swayze's character was named Bodie. I named my dog Bodie. Anyway, there's a line and a scene in there where Gary Busey's character is undercover and he's looking for his dog, and he knocks on this drug dealer or whatever's house, and he says, "Excuse me, have you seen a little dog?" And they kind of make fun of him, like, "No, I haven't seen your dog. Get out of here." So unbeknownst to the characters, I just said, "Look, I'm going to throw a curveball because I love throwing curveballs, and you have to show me as an actor or an actress that you can roll with it and not say, wait, what?" So they're rolling cameras. Joe, and this is, again, my first film 20-something years ago. They're rolling cameras. Joe knows what I'm about to do, and it's a hair salon. So I walk into a hair salon, and I ask the main actress, and she's actually Britney Spears' best friend in real life. So I asked the main character, the main actress, I said, "Excuse me, have you seen a little dog?" And she and the girl that she's doing the hair for in the salon are like, they're going with it. Like, wait, what? No, we haven't seen your dog. And it's just like Point Break. And that was my homage to Point Break. So that's the only time I've ever been in anything.
In front of the
face
camera.
right here behind the camera.
I just had to ask because I was like, I wonder, because a lot of times, every once in a while, somebody will, make a cameo. Some people make a point of being cameos, and some people, it's their one and last thing, and they just want to. So I had to ask that. That's cool.
One and done. I just wanted to do it just to say it.
Right. Well, you absolutely. Now, speaking of the next. It's called Out of the Fight, your next thing. I'm going to show a trailer to. Before I do, tell us a little bit about Out of the Fight. What is this?
Out of the Fight is based on actual events. It's about veteran suicide, not in a negative way. I mean, obviously, veteran suicide is negative, but it's realistic. It's told. I interviewed over 200 families over a 3-year period, and I got all their stories. And I wrote the film. Judy Norton from the Waltons, she played Mary Ellen. She's a friend of mine. She kind of doctored up the script when I finished it and helped write some of it, and has a role in the film also. She plays the psychologist. But it's a real story. It takes all those stories of all those families and everything that they went through, and we made a narrative out of it. And nothing's fictionalized. It's all real. The only thing that didn't happen in the movie that's in the movie is the main character Jason and the other character Barry. In real life, they never met. In the movie, they meet, and there's a reason for it. But everything that happened, even to both of them, to each one of those, happened. So when you watch the movie, it's not Hollywood. It's gritty. It's true. It's raw. And it's called Out of the Fight. And after you watch the trailer, I'll tell you what the term Out of the Fight actually means. But we've gotten the attention from all 55 VAs across the country. I thought there were 50, but there's 55.
No, for those that don't know the industry terms, what's a VA?
This is the Veterans Administration.
Okay.
Yep. And then
I didn't know if it was a movie term. I wasn't.
No. All the VAs across the country.
Okay.
Love it. I had an interview with those guys years when the movie came out. The Pentagon loves the movie. They're like, we want to use this for the Department of Education, and we want to use this to show our veterans and their families. The Gary Sinise Foundation, when the movie came out, a lady involved with them sent me a message on Facebook and said, "Look, we would love for you to show this at our event." But this was right when COVID happened, and it was an event in New York, and they wanted us to headline their event with our movie. So it's just, it's an amazing movie, and show the trailer. And then
let's check it out. Here we are.
Okay.
How are you involved here?
Sergeant Jason Pate, U.S. Army.
Sergeant Randy Mitchell.
How did you not bring it home with you? You don't have to talk to no one. Sometimes it's just better to listen, okay? Listen to people that's gone through the same thing that you're going through.
So many things out there that make you just feel helpless.
We're glad you're home. Thank you for your service.
Appreciate it.
I gotta tell you something, Jason. Joe pulled out his weapon.
I'm sorry.
I'm going to talk to you about Pate. There might be a problem.
I have a 4-year-old daughter. Coming home it's tough to be a dad again. Now I feel like I'm protecting her from me.
Awesome. Awesome. So tell us a little bit more about this. This
All
is
right. Well, yeah, go ahead.
this is quite you've had was your intended audience what was intended?
Yeah.
I mean, you saw
Yeah.
all the
Oh,
VA and all that, or was that what your intentions were?
veterans and their families. And I'm glad you asked that question because you have no idea what you just asked. Distributors love the movie. Distributors like to make changes. In fact, if you look at the poster on Amazon Prime or whatever, the poster's terrible. The poster is not the poster we gave. The poster had the wife, had Emily, and I'll come back to her. Ginger, do not let me forget about Emily. But anyhow, to answer your question, oh yeah, it was for veterans. But the distributors were like, well, no, we want a Hollywood ending because it'll sell better and it'll do bigger and all this kind of stuff. And what they wanted was, obviously, he has a daughter. I'm not spoiling anything like that. You saw Jason, the main character, with his daughter. They said, what if you had at the beginning of the movie, maybe in Afghanistan, there's a 5-year-old kid that reminds him of his daughter, and that's where he's stationed or whatever, and he bonds with this daughter. He goes back home, but then when he goes back at the end for his final tour, maybe he sees that daughter or that kid again. And this time she's strapped and she's got a bomb on her. And he has to decide, oh, do I shoot her before she walks in and blows up our unit? And I'm like, no. I interviewed 200 plus families. And nothing like that ever happened. There was never a story where mom said, yeah, my son was over in Fallujah and a 5-year-old kid had a bomb on her and walked into our little hut. It doesn't work that way. That's Hollywood, but that's what the distributors wanted. And they're like, well, what if, since he's suicidal, what if he knows like where the bad guys are and he just kicks open the door like Rambo and he has one grenade right here and one grenade right here and then he just blows up? No, that's Hollywood. So I didn't blow any opportunities, but I had an opportunity to change the beginning, change the ending, which wouldn't have cost us that much more, and make it a Hollywood feature film. And I said, no, this is all for the veterans and their families. And if I do anything at all that remotely takes away from what their honest, true story is, I'd rather this film not do anything. And you guys can just go make Rambo 12. So,
Right.
No, so it hit the audience. And what's funny is all the feedback that we got, and I can tell you how many families there were, but the families that gave us feedback was 100%. This is authentic. I think one of the feedback I got from somebody that watched the movie was like, I wish you had cut their hair and made them shave. And my response to that person was, actually, we had a liaison for Ginger. What's the word I'm looking for when it's somebody that's helping you out? A consultant. We had military consultants, and in fact, all the battle scenes were done by a veterans group out of Mississippi. So every battle scene that you see, I didn't even direct. I just said, here, Joe, you go shoot this. You guys do what y'all would normally be doing. I'll direct from Video Village watching the monitor, but everything has to be real. But they said, yeah, I wish you'd cut their hair and shave them. I was like, actually, this is based on what they really look like and based on the real people. So everything that you see, there was a reason for that. So you may think, okay, Hollywood says, let's shave their heads and give them this. No, when you're in Afghanistan or you're anywhere near the Taliban, you want to blend in on, I don't want to say you're off time, but you want to blend in when you have to blend in. So these people look like what they were supposed to look like. So you get critics, which I don't care. Critics don't listen to me. It's like, okay, well, here, you do it. You spend 3 or 4 years of your life making this and you do it, and then I'll criticize you, but I wouldn't do that anyway.
So where
yeah,
can we see this movie now? Is it out there? We can watch it now.
Yes, this is on Amazon Prime and other outlets. You forget what else. We had a limited theatrical, but COVID kind of boned that also. But it's called Out of the Fight. And the reason why it's called Out of the Fight is, and my wife came up with the title because I'd gone through the after war and all these other things. But out of the fight does not mean you're out of the fight, therefore I'm committing suicide. Out of the fight means I am out of that fight. I am out of the fight that is bringing me down. I am out of the fight that is bringing me that negativity. I'm out of the fight that is making me want to put that pistol in my mouth, because I've been there and I'm not even a veteran. I've just gone through a lot of things where I've had the gun right here and I've had my 13-year-old stepdaughter wrestle the gun away from me. So I'm out of that fight. And so in order for the veterans to get to where they need to be, number one, it's no longer taboo. And that was when this film came out. It came out right when people were trying to say, hey, it's not taboo. We can now start talking about it. We can talk, veterans can talk about it to, well, I don't know how a veteran would, but before somebody retires or before somebody gets out of the military, they can talk to their superiors without feeling like, oh, I'm going to be ostracized, or they're going to say, oh, he's not fit for battle or anything like that. It's now no longer taboo, and it's not because of the movie. It just happened to coincide with when the movie came out. And so now it's like people are talking about it. And it's like, it's okay to be weak, because how do you go from, hey, every day of my life, I have 2 jobs, kill somebody, don't get killed myself. And that's your job. Right. And then you see all these other things that happen that you go back to the States and then you're like, okay, what do I do with my life now? I'm not, right. You know, sometimes we're defined by what we do, but let's face it, if you are in the military, and especially if you are a veteran, if you have fought in a war somewhere, that is you. That is your life. You're not, you know, hey, I'm by my grill and I'm cooking out. That's not you. You're over here fighting that fight. So anyway, so that's out of the fight never means suicide. Out of the fight means the opposite of that. You are out of that fight. You are winning the battle over your demons.
Wow. That is awesome. I invite anybody to go check it out. That's on Amazon Prime now.
Amazon Prime and other networks. Okay. I'd have to go
just search it. Well,
yeah, you can find it. Just Google Out of the Fight. And please watch it. Please share it, because I will say this real quick. I know we're running out of time. Our goal is 100,000 viewers, and I don't know how close we are. We might be pretty close, but we want 100,000 people watching this. And I don't know how big your market is, but if everybody will watch it and share it, I have a Facebook page, but you can just share it. You can just say, hey, type in Google Out of the Fight, go watch this movie and share it with somebody. And that's how you turn things around.
Yeah. Well, if I can find a link or something, I'll put it up on the description of this interview as well, so people can go right to it. I'll definitely do that. Any last words, Ginger, as far as you and your career and different things that you got coming up that you could speak to? I know you got a lot of plate spinning too as a working actress.
Yeah, I don't know. Nothing in particular that I know that I want to bring up. Steve, if you want to talk about one of the things.
No, we do. Yeah, Ginger, you can talk about any of yours. It doesn't have to be with me. But I think we should mention the one that we're doing. We're doing a faith-based film called Across the Sky, which is also based on actual events, about a girl who loses her dad to a crime. And she doesn't lose her faith, but she questions, I guess she's 13 years old. She questions God. Why did I lose my dad? What happened? But then in real life, what happens, and I don't want to say anything about the story yet, but, well, I can say this. The girl and her dad were always going to go ride horses together. And it's called Across the Sky because after her dad died, she would always send helium balloons across the sky with little note cards on there saying, here's mom's Facebook and stuff, how to social media, how to reach her. And one day, the balloon, true story, this was either on the news or 60 Minutes or somewhere, because this is where I got the idea from. The balloon landed on a horse farm in California, because this is where everything took place. The movie doesn't take place there, but this took place there. It lands in California, or it lands on a horse farm. And the lady that runs the horse ranch sees the social media to the mom or whatever and sends the mom a message and said, hey, I just thought you, no, I received a balloon that came down to my yard, and it's about your husband apparently and your daughter writing this card telling Happy Father's Day or something. And when they found out that she owned a horse ranch in real life, the daughter thought, okay, this is my dad and God's way of saying, get back on that horse. And that's kind of what the movie's about. There's more to the sports. There's baseball. There's music. But it's called Across the Sky.
Ginger,
and we're actually going to do a GoFundMe for it. Okay. Not a big budget, because I can make $0 budget look like, 6-figure budget. That's never the challenge right there. But we want to be able to pay our crew and our cast and stuff like that. Yeah. But it's called Across the Sky. Ginger's got a role in that.
You're not the 13-year-old Ginger?
Not this time. But yeah, that's why I wanted him to tell about the movie, because
that's cool. That's really cool.
And so he can explain it very well. But yeah, I am involved in it as well.
He is involved in that. And if we have enough money, we have Kevin Sorbo, but we're talking, we need to raise a lot. But he knows that if we don't raise a lot, he gets that. You know, because if you have a faith-based film, you have Kevin Sorbo. Let's face it. But it can be done without him, but it can't be done without the help. So eventually, if we can get another show, maybe we can talk about it, because we're actually in prep now, getting things ready to shoot it over the summer, because it involves a youth group at their church, the youth baseball team, softball team, stuff like that. But yeah, that is Across the Sky, and this is one of those that's not geared towards the holy huddle, as my uncle used to be a preacher in Birmingham, and he used to always talk about the four walls, and that's the holy huddle. This is not a preach to the choir movie. This is going to reach people, especially the young crowd, that we need to bring into the fold, because we're losing so many young people that don't even know who Jesus is. When they watch this, they're not only going to know who Jesus is, but sometimes why God and Jesus work the way they work, and how even what Satan meant for bad, God uses for good. And if you can use the death of your father to give you a testimony, to bring other people into the fold, then there's your walking on the water right there. There's your miracle.
Yeah. It's going to be so good. When I read the script, I cried.
Well, keep us informed on that, and how anyone else can, get involved, help with the funding or any of that. Let us know. Or if you have a link, you can send me. I'll put it in the description, or an email or anything. If anybody's interested in any way, shape or form, and keep me up on it, and maybe have you both come back on when things get even closer to production or whatever have you. It sounds really cool. Really cool. Well, thank you both for coming on. One last quick question. I think this is always interesting. I'll start with you, Steve. What does your wife think about what you're doing? What does your spouses think?
What does my wife think about it? Hey, Steve, when are you going out of town again? Total supportive. I'm remarried. I will say she's been a blessing and an answer to prayer. I've been with her for 16 years, but I've known her my whole life. My first wife, nothing negative. You'll never hear something negative, but she just didn't support that industry. It's film. I can go watch movies, but you can't make movies. Just that wasn't there. That's all I'll say about that. But no, she 100% supportive, not starstruck. I'm like, hey, I've got a movie with Nicolas Cage. You want to come down here and meet him? No. That's why I said, hey, because it's just work to her. Right, and I have grown kids that's the same way. And then really quick on this is my oldest daughter, Carly, loves Tom Hardy, but so do I. Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy's an amazing actor. And I was working on a show called Office Uprising, and the director of that show knew Tom Hardy. And when Carly was getting ready for her birthday, he was like, you want me to reach out to Tom and maybe get them to, do a Facebook or something, or tell her happy birthday, which we never had time for. But just the fact that could have happened. But even my kids, aside from Tom Hardy, they're like, oh, that's fine. That's fine. Go do what you do. It's just work.
Right. How about you, Ginger?
Yeah. So my husband used to do Christian rap. He was in the Christian music industry. And so he kind of understands this type of world because he came from like a similar thing. He's super supportive. He loves it. He helps me however he needs to. He has to be my reader for auditions all the time. And my person recording scenes, remote scenes for me all the time. And no, he loves it too, and he helps however I need him to.
Now, do they have, for either one of you, anything favorite that you've done? Like, oh, I love you when this one thing you did, or this one thing you did, that's my favorite? Or do they not really pick out favorites?
Mm-hmm. He hasn't said anything that was his favorite. I don't think he just likes to see anything. If I'm walking around in the background on a thing on the TV, he's just as excited, I think, as he is about any other thing.
He's like, that's my wife.
Yeah.
You see that guy in the theater? See, that's her.
I don't think Renee, that's my wife. I don't think Renee has seen anything I've ever done. I think she's been to one. Has she been to one premiere? She hasn't even seen Diamond yet. It's just, my wife cleans houses for a living, and it's like, Steve, you don't come to my houses. You don't, why do I want to? But with Renee, it's more like she likes to see this. She likes to see that's your element. She'd rather see that all day long.
As long as you're happy what you're doing, that kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, it's nothing like going to work and coming home. You're exhausted, but yet still in.
In between shows, I kayak all the time. I love kayaking, and I feel like, okay, when is she gonna say, Steve, get out of the kayak and go find something else. But it's like, hey, it rained today. You should go kayaking and do your other stuff next week. I'm like, okay, sure. So yeah, just the support is is unbelievable, because there'll be some years, Ginger, you're an actress, you know this, there's going to be some years that are great. There's going to be some years that are lean, and you treat it like a sales job. You just try to budget for, hey, this might be the biggest one I have. Let me budget here in case next year's kind of lean or slim, and just the support that spouses give. And it's just like Out of the Fight. Oh, I have to say this, with Out of the Fight, Emily, the actress that played it, her name was Jordan Jude. She actually met with the main girl who lost her husband to veteran suicide. She became that person. And if you watch, when you watch Out of the Fight, you'll see spousal support is everything, whether it's Out of the Fight or whether it's just in this industry, because this industry is hard. It's hard.
Well, thank you both for coming on and sharing your stories and your wins and all your stuff you got going on. I really appreciate it, and we will keep in touch with everything you have going on. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.